Did you know that sometimes a person can become famous even without doing anything significant in their entire life? Let me share with you a strange true story. In 1815, a boy was born on a small island who would one day be remembered in the history of Europe. Not because of science, not because of art, not because of inventions, but because of doing nothing. His name was Napoleon II, the son of Napoleon Bonaparte the Great. From the moment he was born, people called him the future king, the little emperor, the heir of the eagle. But there was one problem. He never ruled, he never fought a war, and he never gave a single command. He only carried a heavy name and title on his shoulders until, in his 20s, he became sick and died in an Austrian palace without any achievements or lasting impact. Yet, history still remembers him. Why? Simply because he was the son of someone great. His story was not written by himself, but by others. Now let's look at this from another angle. Ignaz Semmelweis, a Hungarian doctor, was the first to say that doctors should disinfect their hands before surgery. With that simple idea, he saved countless lives. Yet his colleagues mocked him, and he eventually died in an asylum. For decades, no one remembered his name. But today, every hospital honors him as a pioneer. This contrast shows something important. Sometimes our value in the moment may seem tied to titles, fame, or accomplishments. But real value lies in the impact we leave behind, even if no one notices at first. The true measure is not whether you were someone's child or carried a great name, but whether you changed something, even in a small way. But here's the question. What if someone doesn't want to change the world in a big or extraordinary way? Does that mean they have no value? To answer this, let's turn to two great philosophies, Existentialism and Stoicism. Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre argue that at the beginning, you are nothing. You have no essence or identity predetermined. You become something only through your choices. Life is like a blank canvas. Nothing is drawn on it at first, but you decide what to paint. If you don't grow, you remain a blank canvas. Value comes from becoming, not just from being. On the other hand, Stoicism has a different perspective. Stoics believe that you already have inherent value simply because you are a rational being and part of nature. Your value is tied to your ability to control yourself and live in harmony with wisdom. Even if you were a slave, your worth could surpass that of a king if you mastered your mind and desires. For Stoics, growth is important, but only if it is inwardly focused. Progress in self-control, wisdom and inner strength, not in wealth or reputation. Both philosophies highlight one truth. Value is either built or discovered, but it never lies outside you. It isn't in your degrees, your followers, your social status. It always comes back to what you have done with your inner self. Modern psychology also echoes this. Carol Dweck's theory of growth mindset says there are two ways people think about themselves. A fixed mindset says, I'm either smart or I'm not, I either have talent or I don't. A growth mindset says, I can improve with effort and learning even if I start poorly. This mindset shifts our value from outcomes to the process of growing. Imagine starting a business. If it fails, someone with a fixed mindset might say, I'm not good enough, I wasn't made for this. But someone with a growth mindset will think, I learned something from this failure that will make me stronger next time. Falling down and getting back up is itself a value, not just reaching the goal. But here we need to pause. Everyone talks about how to achieve goals, but almost no one talks about why most people lose themselves along the way. The path they start on often ends somewhere else. Why? Existentialists suggest that if you live only for external goals, money, fame, titles, you may never stop to ask yourself, who am I? What really matters to me? That's when you drift away from your true self, like wearing a luxurious outfit that never fits you. It may look nice, but it doesn't belong to you. Sartre warned that playing roles imposed by others sacrifices your authentic existence. Many of our dreams, luxury houses, perfect bodies, flashy cars, aren't born from within us. They're implanted by society, advertising, and expectations. We chase images, not genuine desires. As Joseph Campbell said, sometimes the things we seek are not what we truly need. And here's the haunting question. What if the light we are chasing is actually blinding us from facing our own shadows? Carl Jung gave a powerful answer. He said most people don't move forward because they want something. They move forward because they're running away from something. We study not to learn, but to avoid failure. This is where Tolstoy's story becomes important. Leo Tolstoy, the great Russian writer, had everything: fame, money, respect, family. His novels like War and Peace and Anna Karenina made him a legend. Yet in the midst of all this success, he stopped and asked, "If I'm going to die, what is all this worth?" That question shook him so deeply that he even considered ending his life, not from depression, but from realizing that all his achievements were just ways of filling an emptiness inside him. So he simplified his life. He wore simple clothes, spent time with peasants, and lived more humbly. He later wrote that his real life began the day he stopped running and simply looked at where he was. He realized his past successes had been masks covering his fear of meaninglessness and unfulfilled existence. This turning point inspired one of his greatest works, The Death of Ivan Ilyich. Ivan Ilyich was a judge, a successful, respected man. He lived a proper life, followed all the rules, and looked perfect from the outside. But suddenly he was struck with a mysterious illness. As death drew closer, one terrifying question echoed in his heart. If I am dying, does that mean I lived wrongly? For the first time, he realized that living correctly is not the same as living authentically. This story was not just fiction. It was Tolstoy's own voice, his own awakening, captured in a timeless narrative that still forces millions of people to question their lives. As Lao Tzu once said, "Flow, not to reach, but to see, to feel, to be." Now, does all this mean goals and success are bad? Of course not. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist and survivor of concentration camps, argued that humans cannot live without meaning, and often meaning reveals itself through goals. Psychology also confirms that having goals is healthy. But the problem comes when we tie our worth to those goals. A goal born from passion and growth is empowering. A goal born from fear and comparison becomes a prison. That's the fine line. A goal should be like a compass guiding you, not like chains that enslave you. When you cling too tightly, it burns you like fire. Instead of warming you, it consumes you. So what if someone has no goal at all? Does that mean they have no identity? Erik Erikson's theory of identity suggests otherwise. True identity is independence from roles and goals. If your sense of self falls apart without goals, it means your identity has not matured. Often, our true self hides behind the masks of goals and roles. When those are stripped away, it's not emptiness, it's an opportunity to meet yourself. So let me ask you, if all your titles disappeared, if none of your goals were achieved, would anything still make your life valuable? That is the real question. And perhaps the answer lies not in achievements, but in growth, awareness, and authenticity. Because at the end, it's not about whether you were successful, but whether you were alive, truly alive, in your own unique way. And if you're curious about how to build healthier goals that align with your authentic self, I recommend checking out our earlier video, where we mapped out the principles of meaningful goal setting. You'll see the link appear on screen. For now, let's wrap up with this thought. Your worth is not in what you own or achieve. It's in how you grow, how you face your fears, and how you live in truth. Thank you for being here. Long live wisdom, long live philosophy, and long live humanity.